Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about judgment. Okay, I did a little on a video yesterday, and I'll add that to this one too. But it's about when a person should, in a way, what some would call passing judgment, and when they shouldn't. Okay, and some of these I've mentioned in various ways before, parts of it, but I was just thinking about one. Let me get to it here. I was just thinking about one, like, have you ever been waiting on a phone call from a number that you don't know? So it's going to show up as someone you don't know. I don't answer calls if it comes from some phone number, that I don't recognize. I usually have their name on it on my cell phone. So you're waiting on one, though, and it's important that you get it, and you don't know the phone number it's coming from. And finally the phone rings and you answer it, and it's one of those robocalls. Okay, what people used to just say telemarketers. And so you're saying, who is this? They say it in such a low voice, you don't know if they're saying your name or they're mispronouncing your name, which happens to me. Not Grace, but yeah. So you get the person off the phone, you find out it's one of those, you get them off the phone, but in the meanwhile somebody calls and you didn't get a chance to answer that fast. And somebody, not the person that you're waiting on, somebody you know. So you call them back, and that person says, why didn't you answer your phone? Now, that has not happened to me, but I know people like this, and then many years ago it had happened, that part. And I have been waiting on a phone call before, just yesterday. And that happened, that it was a robocall. Now, so that person says, why didn't you answer your phone? And you start to say, well, I had one of those robocalls. And, that's what you say. And they say, well, why didn't you just let it go to voicemail? They're very judgmental. Some would say it's judgmental. Some would just say they're, various things. And then you tell them, and they still try to find some reason to say something's wrong with you, that you're at fault, you should not have that kind of thing. Now they're let's just call all these judgment, but some wouldn't. So they're passing kind of judgment on you, on how you do things on your own phone, how you answer your own phone, and what you put. Yeah, they're being judgmental. But I have reasons to think, not all of that happened to me, but I have reasons to be thinking about this, about people being judgmental, besides what I said yesterday in a video yesterday, about people who have that attitude that they know who's going to be truly, they know who's going to be damned to hell, when, like I said in that video, last I heard, that's not our place. So, and they claim that they're Christians, and they know, that part. And there was another one years ago. I don't even remember how long ago it was, but I mentioned this about seeing on that show Will and Grace, one of the newer ones, that it was something, but it was about shame. I think it was Will was in was getting some coffee, and they made it wrong, or they gave the wrong person the guy. I think it was. I could be wrong about this in memory, But it was something about, don't shame me, because he did the order wrong. And I was thinking about, something else that you are going to have. Some would say it's judgment. Like you go through a drive-through and they totally mess up your order when you get home, or when you, leave from there and you look at it. So you go back and get it and you say, you didn't give me this, or you didn't do my order right, whatever. And imagine them saying, don't judge me. Don't judge me. But yeah, there is sometimes people make jokes about people saying, don't judge me for that, like they just did something wrong, they know they did something wrong, and so just don't judge me for that. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. It's true. And you can run across people who will judge you. Why didn't you just let it go to voicemail? See what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, some people will judge, not having all the details, but they shouldn't be judging you anyway, like the phone call example. It's not their business, in a way, to judge you. Okay, but what about when it really is? That someone should judge someone. Let me read my notes here real quick. And it is when somebody has done something, some of them. I'm not going to be able to mention all that I'm thinking about, and I could be wrong on these, but I don't think so. It's an opinion. Read the disclaimer in the description box below this video on YouTube. Okay, whenever somebody has actually done something wrong, and it in some way can affect you or others. Okay, and and some of them, I was thinking of an example which I have never seen happen before, but like when somebody has the nerve to do something right in front of your face, and they think that they can just get away with it. That's just how it is. I mean, imagine somebody is at work, before the pandemic and all that, or maybe after, and there's a manager standing right there, and there's an employee, they're in the supply room, okay, and the employee comes in, or employee's leaving, and with a bunch of, a couple of packs of copier paper, and the manager says, where are you taking that? So, well, I need it at my home. I mean, that would be, an exaggerated kind of case, but imagine, some people, their mentality, their attitude is, nobody can judge me. I'm an adult, I can do what I want. And some people really believe that they can do what they want, no matter what, no matter whether it's wrong, even if it's against the law, because to them, nobody should judge them. Nobody should tell them what to do. They just don't believe that there is any person on this planet that should stop them from doing what they want to do. And yes, there are some people who are that extreme. Okay. And here's another one. Now, I did a whole video. I still have some. Things right now are kind of, and things got disorganized in the process. But don't know where my notes are for more of the whole bit with people who do these delivery gig workers. That's what they call themselves, because they usually do more than one, like for more than one delivery service. To be a gig worker, they do more than one kind of gig, one kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be delivery either. But it's a gig worker society, some say. So I did a video about that, and I have more written down in a composition book somewhere in my SUV here. And but this one just came to me because I saw something like this, and remember I said, I've been doing that. I really appreciate the people who are going out there and they're doing their this job of delivery with our health conditions. I have an adrenal disorder and diabetes because of it, and he has diabetes, and see, like that, and he's older than I, and so we've been doing the thing of getting our groceries and stuff like that delivered. Okay, they just leave it on the doorstep, and we don't see them, they don't see us, and we really started it. I did back in 2018, a little bit here and there, and then 2019, but I think certainly since the pandemic. And I appreciate that people are out there doing it, and I understand that they too are essential workers, and they too are putting themselves, a little bit in danger, or however you see it. Most of them wear masks. Some of them have showed up on my doorstep without them, even though it's mandatory in Texas. And just by the way, check out people when something is an order or a mandate by a governor, and what I have heard and read, and it could be different state to state, place to place, it has the effect of law. Okay, so let's move on. So I was doing those on this, and the people that do that, and I mentioned that as a customer, I know this. Some of them, when you order delivery through, whatever it is, I'm not going to mention just one, that you don't get a sales price. Okay, so you're paying more there. You don't get Well, you have to pay for the delivery service fee. It could be one fee. You pay each fee each time, or you can get a monthly or yearly, whatever, membership to have delivered. Okay, and so there's that. And then they started attaching on some kind of other fee that I don't remember seeing at first. And different ones do different things. And then they will automatically choose a tip for you. Okay. And usually mine, what they automatically do, I think is, I can't remember what percentage it is. It's the second one. And so, a customer has the opportunity, I've seen on every one of them, to not give a tip. Now, I mentioned this in that video. I know I've already talked about this. And so the customer is not getting sales price. Customer is paying a monthly fee. Customer, gets that other fee, and then they want a tip, and, along this line. So, they expect it. Now, judgment was, like I had mentioned, I didn't call it judgment, I don't think. But these gig workers, these delivery gig workers, I've heard some of them say that about if there's no tip already up there, then they don't take that order. And I mentioned, I believe, that I would fire that type. If I only saw them taking orders that already had the tip on there, I would fire them. Yeah, okay. Now, I would. I would. So, I have my reasons. I don't know if I actually did that bit in the video, but anyway, so yeah. There's another thing, that of not getting the sales price. Well, I believe that's because you don't even put your reward, whatever kind of reward card, store reward card, store card, whatever. And it takes off, gives you those special. And plus, some of them, they'll give you gas mile. Sometimes you get like 10 cents off of a gallon of gas, or you get more, times 3, times 5, whatever it is, because you're using your reward card. I'm just going to call them reward cards. I don't know what each one of them is called. I think each store has a different name for them. Okay. And so I'm thinking, now I could be totally wrong on this one, I will admit it. But I'm thinking that that's what they use to pay the gig workers, the shoppers, the gig workers. They pay them extra. They get more than just their tip. That and that extra little fee they put on there. I could be totally wrong. Or is it that the store, like if you go, if they go through a checkout, when they don't do the checkout themselves, they have a cashier there, and the people couldn't put their reward card, the people that are, the customer, they couldn't put their reward card to get their reward, to get their sales price. What if the cashier does it? I've seen cashiers do that before. Like somebody before me doesn't have their reward card, and before the pandemic, and the customer would swipe one. I mean, the cashier would swipe one, and they have sitting right there. Okay. Now, what happens is that they just don't get a sales price, but they're in the store and they're getting the sales price. That doesn't make sense, So is it the delivery service that gets that sales price? Do they use their own reward card? See what I'm saying? I could be totally wrong about that. Or is that, that's how that is how they pay that extra amount to like I just said, to the gig worker. Okay. Now, got all that? So, now, what if those, the delivery gig workers, the shoppers, they're actually in the store, they're shopping, and they go check out, and what if they know this? They know that the customer can't, and it's not on every one of them, but they know the customer can't use their reward card. So they use their own, and that way they get that gas stuff, however much you purchase, you get a certain percent off for gas, and so that they get a reduced price on their own card. And, well, that's going to make the customer get the reward, too. Now, some of them might be doing it innocently. Some of them say, well, hey, or some might not. They say, hey, I want that extra gas money. Gas, off my gas. I'm driving around all day. I need that. And even if it says in the contract that the employee, the delivery service has a contract for their employees, their staff, and it says you can't do that, but they do it anyway. So why not? Have that kind of attitude. Nobody tells me what to do, that kind of attitude. And it makes sense to them. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's something somebody should judge. But what if somebody says, well, I'm not judging you if you do that. Just be careful when you do. Whoa. Whoa. Really. Be careful when you steal. Be careful when you break the law. Be careful when you, like people say, I'm not going to judge you because you were speeding to get here. Wow, they could have killed somebody, themselves even. But, yeah, some of it is all about this, that people are saying, I'm not going to judge you. Why not? Now, you're not judging them that they're going to they're damned to hell. You're just saying what you're doing is wrong. That affects other people who are gig workers that are being honest. That affects other people. Okay? So why are you not passing a judgment and saying, that is wrong, you should not do that? No, giving them this little, well, if you do, be careful. No, instead, that is wrong, it should not be done. But my experience in life, and I'm not saying anybody in particular, but my experience in life is the type that will tell somebody, in any kind of situation, it doesn't have to be about gig workers, in any kind, is that they do it themselves. They are all about the Benjamins, all about the money. Okay, that's all it is about. Greed, greed, greed. They have that love for money, and they'll do anything to get it. They'll pass the whole thing of, the gig worker, the delivery gig worker, passes judgment of if a person doesn't have the tip up there. I went through that whole thing, about when you go to a restaurant, you don't put the tip on the table before you even order. You wait to see what kind of service they did, and you tip them accordingly. And that is, some would say, a judgment. You're judging what they've done. But in this one, with the gig workers that have said this, they're turning it around. They're judging the customer, and the customer should not judge them. The customer should not give them a bad rating or take away the tip if they did something wrong. The customer shouldn't. That's wrong. The customer should not judge them, but they judge the customer. You see? Things get so twisted. And it's all about money. And many of them, not all, but many of them are all about the money. Okay? The using their own reward card, using their own, judging the customer beforehand. Wow. Okay. Now, I used to do videos quite a bit about normalization of narcissism, and I would say this pretty much fits into it. Narcissism is a normalization of something that's bad. Let's just say that. That's just a twisted way of what things really should be. People wanting to screw the system for themselves. Now, if it's, somebody's trying to screw them, oh, no. They can judge them. They're the ones who say, you don't judge me. But I've done this, done videos about this normalization of narcissism. And like people who say, oh, go and lie on your resume, everybody does it. No, they don't. And that's them just trying to give permission to go ahead. If you do it, I'm not going to judge you if you do it, but just be careful. That's along the same line. Do your resume, lie on it, and make yourself look better. And there's so many of them. Okay, really. And that's not good. These things changing around. Look what kind of troubles we've had. So many people, so many things, so many, I know people who just, they get it in their head that anything that they want to do, they can, and you're the problem now. The people who say, no, I don't lie on my resume. I never lied on my resume. I remember I sent a resume to a woman, and she said, she said, she called me, for an interview. And she said, really, I wanted to call you and tell you, you need to take these things off of your resume. And she said, because for one thing, it's showing your age. Age as much. She said, I know it's wrong, but she was around my age. She said, but like when I graduated or something like that, it was when I earned my first degree. And she said, you need to take off the year. You're wrong. You're wrong for being honest. My goodness. They're going to see me whenever I go in, to interview. They're not going to think I'm 20. Okay, so you get the gist, right? Well, but it's bad. It's bad that it's getting so twisted. We need to untwist it. We need to put it right on the right path here. Seriously. Because you get into a world where people are saying nobody can stop me from just taking something right in front of your face that doesn't belong to me. Doing your order wrong. What happens at some point? People start turning against one another. Somebody can come in your house and take your sofa because they just wanted to. You can't judge me. You can't tell me I'm wrong. It's none of your business. You see? It could get crazy. So much chaos. If there's not something there saying, you can't do these. This is not right. You can can't you think of some kind of jobs that, they should not be lying on their resume? And what if they have a phone number linked to it and they say, well, we need to check this, and they have a phone number of someone that's a friend, or maybe even a friend works there, but because it's become so lawless in a way that the friend lies. You see, there are some jobs you don't want them to have lied on their resume about. Really, think about it. Claim that there's something like those who claim that they know better than the doctors even. They know better than everybody. Yeah. So we can't let this become normal. We can't let it become a norm. We can't let it become, I'm not telling anybody to go out and do something, that causes them or anybody else any harm, and I'm not, and all that. But, teaching our children or our grandchildren, right from wrong, actual right from wrong, and not to tell them it's right, you do whatever you want to, it doesn't matter. That's what I mean. And the people who, if we're managers or supervisors or whatever, owners, somebody does this wrong, goes in and takes a copy or paper, fire them. That's stealing. That's theft. And we all know people can be dangerous. Anybody can be. So it's a risk we take when, we have to put our foot down. If somebody walked in my house, stole my sofa, I'd call the police. Before they got through the door. They just wouldn't want to get through the door. But you see what I'm saying? But these days, people have this attitude that you just turn your eyes away from it. You act as though you don't know that it's happening. When you do. It's not your problem. It's none of your business. Yeah, it is. Raise your children right. Your grandchildren, help your children to raise them, whatever it is. But, get their permission. Like I said, I'm not trying to give any advice. You do what you want. But as long as it's not illegal and doesn't hurt or harm anybody. And that's what's funny. I've said that before. That, to each their own, unless they're doing something that is so horrendous. And I believe that it's hurting them, harming others and or others, whatever, against the law. They're deciding that they know better than the people who put the laws in place. And that law shouldn't be there, so we're just going to do it our way. We just do it, not as a collective whole going toward to try to change the law you know. But they're just going to do it. It's the people who think that speed limits are just suggestions, you know. That kind. Anyway, that's enough for this for now. I'll talk to you on another video.